Hi, and welcome back to my Chippy the Warlock at Devlog series. I know it's been a while, but I'm finally back from holiday. When I did get back from holiday, I was caught up on schoolwork and stuff from, units starting, but I think I have a bit of time because I've finished all of those, and I'm going to work more on Chippy now. And what better way to get back into YouTube than to, well, get back into YouTube. I also did the Unity course I talked about in my previous video, and I will probably do a video on that at some point, but I will just get back to working on Chippy for now. I will also continue with the longer form videos as they're a little easier to make and they also look better. In this video I want to prepare the game for a first release and get it into its final draft. Now, I don't usually plan too much when I work on Chippy, but this time I set up a Trello board and a plan with what I needed to do. I want to make and finish all the levels and give them that cool Izoni aesthetic, as well as make a settings menu and some aesthetic changes to the menu's background and the buttons, because they don't really look the best as static images. And with that, let's get into part 1 of making the first release of Chippy. Alright, so the first thing I'll do is fix the aesthetics on the levels I've already made, because the placeholder textures on them currently look kinda weird. I recently made some Fruitiger Aero PC props for my Unity game, and I want to use them to decorate the levels, but I should also make some props that fit the facility imprisonment vibe a little bit more, and some decals to stick on the walls for stains and weathering and stuff. But first I had to retexture and revise the draft levels. I went through all the levels and retextured them with the cool looking tile texture, added some lights and stuff, and then did the finishing touches with some props and decals and whatnot. Now, this took way longer than I thought, because on top of retexturing the levels and adding in the decorations, I also had to redesign most of the levels to fit the newer aesthetic, and also because they're really badly made. And this is pretty much what took up most of this video game making, redoing textures, baking lights, and crying myself to sleep because it takes too long. Anyway, I managed to retexture level 1 and almost finished the first bunny hop level, and while I was doing it I also found a level very similar to the arena level that I was originally going to use for the tutorial. Now, I don't know how many other levels I have or stuff I haven't included, but I think I might actually make some secret levels and other stuff in the game for when it releases. And I think I'm going to call it for remaking levels for now. All the other ones I'll redo later, and I want to go back to making more levels and stuff. On Sunday, I started on the basic layout of the tutorial level. I tore down the current one, and I realized pretty quickly that I probably should have kept it for secrets, so, that kinda sucked. But then I remembered that, hey, Chippy is nearly done, and yeah, kinda made me happy again. So with this newfound motivation, I got to work on the new tutorial level. I wanted to make a sort of room where you can wake up in and then go through the tutorial, so I got started on making a small room, and I finally figured out how to make CSG meshes with interior faces. Basically this will mean I won't have to construct every room out of loads of blocks anymore, and the reason I don't want that is because that's a lot of vertices in the scene which your computer has to calculate, and that can make things pretty laggy if you have a lot of them. So it would mean that there's less stuff to calculate and more smooth gameplay. It's also a little easier to work with making levels just because you can see through the walls and it looks a bit cleaner. On Monday I decided to keep working with the CSG meshes, but I ran into a weird problem where I can't seem to put holes that don't have any collision in the CSG boxes. So for time's sake I just decided to make the levels using the big old box method, because while it is worse for optimization, it works, so I like it. I scrapped the level once again and remade how I wanted it to look with just regular CSG boxes, and on Tuesday I did some more work on the tutorial level by adding in some basic lighting and some more texture work, because I was duplicating the CSG boxes and textures also carry over. In fact, most of the week was just morphing the CSG polygons into the level, so I think I'll probably just skip over all that for now. Well, I eventually got all of it down and started working on the props and obstacles and stuff. I made some different sections for learning different aspects of the game, like jumping, attacking, surfing and airstrafing and stuff. I decorated it a little using the usual baked lighting and decals. And I also put a bloom effect on the environment scene, so I can keep the environment and stuff consistent between levels. I don't know really how good it looks, might change it in the future. Maybe let me know down in the comments if you guys like it or not. Next I placed a bunch of PC props all around the level. Might make some more in the future, and maybe some other things in the area that you can start on, like maybe a table and a cat ball and stuff, but I think it looks cool on its own. The tutorial level is pretty much done by now, and I think it looks really perfect. All I need to do is just make some final touches with the lights, exit, and some general things, and then it's all good to go. And just like that, we go from a really goofy looking tutorial that I made in less than an hour, to something I'm actually proud of. I also fixed some of the indirect lighting problems, where the shadows were way too dark, even though they shouldn't be, and I even added a unique screen for when you finish the level, and you can proceed to the next level or go to the main menu. And I also increased the vignette strength on the camera, and changed a little bit about how jumping works, just to make it feel a bit more snappy and a bit more satisfying to jump around. And yeah, just like that, the tutorial level is completely done. It took a while, and by a while it took an entire week, but it looks way better than it used to, and I can definitely tell that I'm getting better at level design in general. Maybe when I release Chippy, all of you can comment how I can improve my levels and other things. I think I'll probably take a quick screenshot of it at some point and then maybe stick it underneath the level button in the level select menu. Maybe I might do that for the rest of the levels when I finish making them too, so you can sort of see a preview of what you're about to go into. Now there is one thing that I do feel I need to mention before I continue with this video, and that is about the real Chippy. Yes, if you didn't know, Chippy was a real cat. He was my best friend's cat, and it was absolutely amazing. He loved to sleep in weird places, and he constantly, as most cats do. And you might have noticed that I'm talking about he was, and he has. And that's because, although as he was amazing, he sadly died recently from getting too sick. He was really old. He was something like 20 years old, which is, like, as you know, incredibly old for a cat. And he was euthanized before he died, so at least he did go out peacefully. But yeah, that's really sad. I'll show some of the photos and videos that I have of him recorded. And I just felt that I needed to put that out there for you all, since you can see that this game does mean quite a lot to me and my friend, which is why I'm working quite hard on it. Rest in peace, Chippy. You'll forever be remembered by me, my best friend, and the rest of my community. Now let's continue on with making the video game in the name of Chippy's Adventurement. And I think it's probably a good time to make a nice and cool looking main menu, because the current one is pretty dead looking and looks nothing like how it should with the new Izoni aesthetic. Now because of how the old main menu is structured, I can't really animate a cool looking scene in 3D, because the menu is based on a control node, which isn't a 3D node, as you can probably guess. So I need to remake the entire main menu with a camera and a 3D scene and that stuff, and it sounds a little bit daunting, but it isn't super bad now that I kind of know how to make nice looking 3D scenes. So I put together a quick room to make a main menu around, and after placing some props and stuff around the place, it looks kind of nice. Now I added a little exit sign above the door, which I'll probably include on each door in the actual levels. And to texture it, I put on a Unity prototype texture from the asset store by Kia. Sorry if I butchered your name, but anyway. If you want to find the prototype textures, check them out. I based my prototype textures off theirs, and I'll probably leave a link in the description to the textures. So I finished off the room, and now it looks pretty good. I decided to stick Chippy's sword in a round desktop with some funny looking black ooze coming out of the hole, because I think it looks pretty cool. And I messed around a little bit with the GPU particle system to try and make some spark effects, and it does look a little bit bad, but it works for now, and I'm pretty proud that I managed to figure out how to make, somewhat decent sparks with it. And I think I'm going to come back to this later, because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to structure the main menu. The last main menu was structured pretty simply. Maybe I might go with that, maybe I might not, I don't know. We'll wait and see. So I think that's going to be it for this month's video. I'll try to get back to weekly uploads next week, but I can't guarantee it because of schoolwork and things. It took quite a lot longer to make this video, not only because of schoolwork, but also because of the holidays and that Unity course which I took. So yeah, hopefully I'll make some more time next week. Might make some posts and stuff on my YouTube if I don't have time to make a full video. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Leave a like if you like the videos, dislike if you didn't like it, and consider subscribing if you want to stay updated with more Chippy content. And yeah, goodbye for now.